What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Enter the Lab. So, today we're going to start off with this nice little thought. Are agents really important? What is up with all these 1 year deals? A lot of these agents out here are really upset because a lot of their clients are taking 1 year deals. They're not signing these big multiple contracts. So, how important is it to have an agent? Lamar Jackson is kind of probably figuring it out right now that he probably needs an agent to sit over here and get the deal that he's looking for. But who knows? I wanted to be an agent a long time ago, but hey, if I'm not getting my cut, I'm probably gonna be mad too. But let's go ahead and get it to the show. One love. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Enter the Lab with my boy ZT, C. Henry, and you know your one and only Lady E. Mwah.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Enter the Lab. This is episode 3 of season 2. And today we go ahead and talk about the first half of free agency is pretty much in the books. So we go ahead and cover some of the teams that have made some big moves this offseason so far. And then we're going to talk about 2 specific teams that have great owners and some great GMs. And we're going to talk about the moves that they made and some of the downfalls they have coming their way. And the final thing we're going to talk about these top 5 linebacking prospects. These are some good linebackers this year, and we're going to go ahead and discuss their grades and what we think about these players coming in this upcoming draft. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, welcome to Enter the Lab. It is your host, DT. It is the lovely Lady E and your boy, C. Henry. What's good, gang?
What's good? What's good? What's good?
What's up? How are y'all?
You know, I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic this week.
Lord.
I'm ecstatic. Can't
Here
wait to
we
talk
go.
about it.
Ladies and
Hell
gentlemen,
yeah.
you see his background. He gonna rep Detroit very hard. But before we get to that, we're gonna go ahead and talk about a couple of the moves that happened so far. So we went to pretty much the first half of free agency. Tier 1s and the tier 2s. We're kind of slowing down right now. So let's go ahead and talk about one of the first moves that we've seen this week. Brandin Cooks, he's no longer a Houston Texan. Once again, the mighty arrow shooter, he is now heading to the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys traded a 2023 fifth round and a 6th round pick for this Pro Bowl wide receiver. And I'm going to have to say, I'm kind of shocked as a Washington fan that they got him instead of D-Hop. But it's not really a bad trade because when you look at Dallas last year, outside of CD, they didn't really have no guys that could separate, especially Michael Gallup coming off injury. Jalen Tolbert, he's going to be another year of development in that crowded wide receiver room. And James Washington, the signing from last year, he got an injury, so that kind of derailed some plans. And Noah Brown, he's no longer in that wide receiver room. So I think this is going to be a big boost for them because he has a veteran presence. He knows how to get open, and he's going to be someone that can help Dak try to lay some pressure off. Now, I don't think that's probably one of the only moves they're going to make this offseason. It remains to be seen. But I'm going to ask you guys, Lady E, what do you think about this move, him going to Dallas?
I mean, it's a good pickup for Dallas. I mean, again, I still don't understand why they traded away Amari Cooper. I get it. There was a money situation at that time. But, I mean, they have their wide receivers. I mean, the thing is, CeeDee Lamb, in my honest opinion, he's going to be that number 1 wide receiver for Dak because that's who he's going to trust at that. I mean, Brandin Cooks is a good wide receiver. He does, like I said, 9 times in 5 years. It's something to me is wrong. Either the teams are not either able to utilize him in a good way. But yeah, to be traded 9 times in 5 years, that's pretty crazy. But again, he's a great serviceable wide receiver. And this is really going to be a shout out to the Cowboy fans. Let's see if Dak can actually find him.
I think, when you look at Brandin Cooks, he's definitely a quality wide receiver. And like you said, for him to be traded 9 times in 5 years is crazy. I don't know if we haven't heard anything about him having any off the field problems. We haven't heard anything about him being a problem in the locker room. So, I mean, for him to be traded this many times, and again, he's a productive player in this league. So it's crazy, but I do think he's a good player. I think he fits Dallas well. I think that, he definitely adds a speed element to that offense. When you look at CeeDee Lamb, he's fast and everything, but he plays a lot out of the slot. So a lot of his things are kind of, short to intermediate routes. Brandon Cooks still can take the top off the defense. And this guy still is relatively young. I believe he's like 27, 28 years old, 29 years old.
He's about to be in his prime.
Yeah, he's still very much, got good years left in him. So a little cheaper alternative. Arizona was asking for a second round pick for D-Hop. I think that probably deterred a lot of folks so far from making a deal for him. So a positive move, man, for Dallas. Yeah. But to your point, Lady E, can Dak find him would be the question.
That's what's gonna be the real question.
And let me ask this, because this has been on my mind recently. So they also traded for Stephon Diggs. They've been making a couple of trades, trying to add some veterans, not try to go with like a lot of unproven guys. Do you think Dallas is trying to go all in this year, or you just think they're just trying
No, I believe that they're going all in this year. They were very close last year. They've been close seasons before. So I feel like now that they feel like they have the defense that they need. They probably add a couple of more little pieces here or there. But yeah, I mean, the thing about it is Jerry ain't getting no younger, and I think he want to see one again before that time comes. So at this point, if they can't get it, and it's gonna be some changes coming into 2024, I believe.
I think they're kind of in the sweet spot right now. Jerry definitely wants to contend every year. He definitely doesn't want to take a step back to go to any type of rebuilding type situation. I think the Cowboys always want to be in a contending situation. He's got a decent mix of a young core. A mix of a young core and some veteran players on that team. So again, to your point, Lady E, Jerry ain't getting no younger. Every time I see him on TV, I get him confused for my man from Star Wars, the Emperor. So he needs to make it happen real soon.
Well, meanwhile, Lady E, your rivals in Charlotte, North Carolina, they're kind of added some guys to whoever be the QB1 and the number one pick of this draft. They're added some pieces a little bit in the Frank Reich era in Carolina. So I'm gonna ask C. Henry, like, what do you think about these moves so far? I think Miles Sanders is a good pickup. Alan Thielen, he's a veteran wide receiver. When they have a pretty young wide receiver room with Laviska Shenault and Terrence Moss and Shi Smith in that wide receiver room as well. So that's some leadership right there, and a reliable target for whoever be the quarterback, whether it's Bryce Young or CJ Stroud coming in a couple of weeks from there. So what do you think about the moves Carolina's making?
You know what? When I look at Carolina and their free agent haul so far, their off-season haul, I thought that they got played just a little bit when they traded up, but they were moving a long distance from 9 up to 1. So they were going to have to, come off some capital to get there. And they gave up the 2 first, well, really 1 first. They traded they swapped spots. So I don't really count that. So 1 first and 2 second-round picks is not that big of it's not that great of a haul. You throw in DJ Moore, so you do lose your number 1 receiver. But Thielen, solid guy. Miles Sanders coming off his best year of his career. I think he had over 1,200 yards last year. They have an okay offensive line. They need to continue to add some pieces there. But you look at that team, the division itself, and Lady, he can speak to it a little bit later, but the division itself, to me, is not that strong of a division. Everybody is kind of in flux. I think it's realistic to say that somebody can win this division between 7 and 9 games, possibly. So you can be kind of in a rebuild mode, but still be competing for a playoff spot in this division. And I think that's what Carolina's goal is this year. And they're setting the table very well for their quarterback.
I'm just going to say that's Lil Brun now. That's all I got to say. That's Lil Brun now. Yeah, that's Lil Brun now. But no, again, we have talked about it again. All teams in the NFC South right now are going through a major rehaul, as we've seen with the Saints, as we've seen with Tampa, even with my team as the Falcons, where we're making splashes and trying to get things when it comes down to it. Yes, the division is up for grabs. I will say it this year. I mean, like, we're going to sit over here and say all the media and everybody's going to play it into the Saints' hands because they got Derek Carr and they still got a couple of some vets that are still producing for their team. The Panthers right now, the pickups with Miles Sanders and Adam Thielen, it does something because again, they didn't have a wide receiver outside of DJ Moore, to be let's be honest. And the running back that they had last year, he was a good running back. But to add Miles Sanders to split those carries, that's a 1-2 punch. That's what you want to look for, especially when you know for a fact if the quarterback, especially if you got a young quarterback, you want those running backs to be able to help with that young quarterback. So, I mean, hey, they're sitting up there at number one. They had 14 representatives at CJ Stroud's Pro Day. So again, we already got an idea of where they're going. The issue is can CJ Stroud come in? If that's who they really are gunning for, or whoever they're gunning for, but can that rookie come in and give that production? Like to see Henry's point, a team can win 7 or 8 games this season. It can happen, but again, that just depends on the other plays. And when we really sit down and see, we got to really see who got better and who got worse. So right now, the NFC South is really up for grabs. You know, shout out to the Carolina Panthers. They're doing what they need to do because they're in a complete rebuild mode at this point.
An interesting couple of weeks away from looking at what the NFC South is going to do in the NFL draft. So meanwhile, in the Motor City, in 8 Miles, there's a safety that left Philadelphia. And he got a 1-year deal. And, you know, for those that actually seen Lady E talk about these agency and contracts, things like that, I kind of feel some type of way about CJ Gardner-Johnson getting a 1-year deal after having his best year playing the free safety spot in Philadelphia. But, I mean, hey, he's going to Detroit. He's going to be a big asset for them. I think that's going to be a great fit, especially for a young, up-and-coming defense. They got some young corners, Aiden Hutchinson on the defensive line, looking to wreak havoc. So, once again, the one that represent 8 Mile, C. Henry, what do you think about this move, man? You think this is a high-quality caliber move? You think this is going to push y'all over the hump?
We got music. Okay. You know what? Let me be clear, man. Now 8 Mile is the boundary, man, of Detroit. I'm coming from exit 9, Joy Road, in the middle of the jungle, okay, in the middle of the jungle. And CJ, he said he want to be part of this. He want to be part of the turnaround, the restore, the roar movement, man. And he went from Philly to another real city, Detroit, Michigan. Welcome you, CJ, and my man Brad. Oh, Brad, I don't even know which hand. Brad, there we go. Brad. Brad is the man. Brad is putting it together. If y'all don't know his name, y'all need to learn his name. Brad, the next Ozzie Newsome, is doing it for Detroit. Yes, sir. For my MVP, the MVP of free agency, man. You know what I mean?
I'm going to say this. I'm going to let C. Henry have his moment and talk about his team because, again, Detroit been down for so long. I gotta let those boys over there in D-Town. It's cold out here in the D.
Yes, it is.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break and a word from our sponsors.
Do you sit back and say, man, these walls just need something? Feel like it's time to freshen up your place with something new? If your answer is yes, then it's time to call Rob of Lewis Paints Plus, the accent wall expert. Rob will even give you a free estimate on how he can transform those boring walls in your home. To book today, call 240-418-5241 or reach out on Instagram at Lewis Paints Plus. And for 10% off, tell him Red Zone sent you.
All right, and welcome back to Enter the Lab podcast, season 2, episode 3. And so this topic we're going to have a conversation about is when we talk about some of these teams that go all in for the chip or they're building for the future, they have some upsides and then there's some downsides, you know. And we're looking at the Rams right now, and Sean McVay, he was pondering going up in the TV booth and things like that. So now he decided, I'm going to come back and coach this team again. But it's going to be a big overhaul for LA, man. I mean, they only had one chip in that span of their window, and they just traded away Jalen Ramsey. Aaron Donald was pondering retirement last year. Matthew Stafford, he got his ring, but once again, the injury history follows him from Detroit to LA, and it's questioned about him being healthy and other things about this team. This team, I think they have drafted well in spite of not having those first day two and day one picks, but now it's starting to come back and haunt them a little bit. So to ask you, Lady E and C. Henry, do you think it's okay to have these teams like that fall off like that when you're going all the way for the chip, or you rather just build it steadily? Like just build for the draft, sign some quality free agents in there to fill some spots, and you just keep building and building, or you just think this is good. I mean, I wouldn't recommend just having one Super. It is a Super Bowl to get one Super Bowl. The goal is to win the Super Bowl, but to fall off like this, I don't think Rams fans want to watch the team this year.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. We've seen it happen before. Couple of teams, I experienced it when we went and drafted Julio. We gave up all of our picks out there to the Browns. Shout out to Brandon Weeding because that was one of their picks with that. But when you think about the Rams, yes, they got their championship, and I pretty much feel like when you give away your picks like that, and you don't go out in free agency or you don't draft in a way to where you're picking up potential talent that you can use later on down the line, that's when you end up with the situations like this. You lose a Jalen Ramsey, your quarterback now, shout out to Matt Stafford, but your quarterback now is injury prone. You don't have a solid, then you're losing one of your best defensive linemen if he does decide to go away. They lost their best offensive lineman after they won the Super Bowl. So it was already a trickling effect when it came down to it. And then even Sean McVay is like, hey, I'm done. Like, he got his ring, he's done. So it's really about, in my honest opinion, this goes back to the GM. This goes back to the owner, because what type of culture are y'all actually setting for the team? Like, what is your motto? Like, what is your game plan? Because if you don't have your front office believing in it, let alone you don't have your coach believing in it who can believe in with the team, you're not going to get that camaraderie. Let alone y'all are sitting there twiddling your thumbs like we can't do anything. So, again, that just comes down to, again, the front office when it comes down to it. I don't think it has anything to do with Sean McVay, but it just, if they're not preaching something for the team to go out there and figure out what they need to go get, then they're just going to sit there and twiddle their thumbs. And right now the Rams is in that division, in that NFC West. And right now San Francisco look like it's about to run away with it once again.
So I'm gonna tell you, it's funny, man. When you look at the Rams and how they built the team, first and foremost, I think there's multiple ways to build a team. You can lean on the draft, you can lean on free agency, you can kind of mix the two. And when you look at the Rams, the first time they went, when Goff was on the team, it was a team that was built mostly through the draft.
Yeah.
Yep. You had Goff, you had Gurley, and guys like, I believe Robert Woods. No, he came from Buffalo. But for the most part, it was mostly draft picks. They built that team. They made it there. They didn't win. Okay, they were competitive for a couple of years. Then they made a move. They got to that point where they felt they were one or two players away, and then they went to the free agent route. I think what happened to him, and that's the way to do it. As someone who's watched the franchise for many years, who've been down and ain't never won one, hell, if we win one and go down for some years, I'll take it, because we've been down for 40 of mine, and we ain't won nothing. So if every 10 years we get a ship, hey, I will take it. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, I think when you look at the LA Rams, to Lady E's point, they're at a crossroads. The coach don't know if he want to be there. The best two players, the quarterback and Aaron Donald, are sitting there looking in the mirror trying to decide if they got enough juice to go again, and chase another championship. So they're at a crossroads, and I think for them, they're kind of saying, we don't know what we want to do. We don't want to be super mid and not be able to get some of the special players that we think that we need to conventionally compete. So are we going to, try to, make another run, or are we going to try to accumulate some assets to kind of build this thing back up? So it's a crazy spot that they're in. But, you can look at some teams like Pittsburgh and Baltimore who've been able to kind of stay in a competitive mode, regardless, whether it's, they've gotten a few little free agent pieces to add with their draft pieces, and they stay competitive and build something sturdily built. That's what I really want to aim for in Detroit, building something that is sturdily built.
You can mention the Green Bay Packers, how they had it before, how they had like almost
I ain't mentioned no Packers. Nobody asking about no Packers. Everybody asking about no Packers.
Woo! The hate is real.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't asking about no Packers. No, I'm sorry, but go ahead. The Packers do what now?
No, I said the Packers had their farming system back in the day where they used to have like a lot of their players that they did want to promote up from their practice squad, where they always used to do that and just, in a sense, hide them to be able to promote them later on, rather than really digging deep into the free agency pool, or even trying, they built through the draft, but they didn't have to go to the free agency pool because they was already building their team within. So you even have teams like that, but where the Rams sit, they can't do none of that. So
now, when we talk about teams on the rise, it's pretty clear that Dan Campbell and Brad Holm are establishing a great culture in Detroit, and we're looking at all the moves they have made. They've been drafting well, getting solid quality players in third and fifth round, things like that. They're now making free agency moves. They're addressing the needs that they desperately need. They had a bad pass defense. Now they're trying to fix that with a rising pass rushers. One was a first round pick, the other one was a 7th round pick out of Jackson State. And you're looking at Jared Goff leading that group of quality wide receivers in the run game. And they even signed David Montgomery to add another feature and another look in that backfield. So, we're looking at Detroit, and for years past, when I was growing up watching Detroit has, constantly just been a bottom feeder outside of Jim Caldwell. He was there. I like Jim Caldwell as coach. I don't know.
Talk to him about Jim. Talk to him about Jim, DT.
I like Jim Caldwell when he was there. Unfortunately, we all know how they treated him. They said 9-7 wasn't good enough. Then the next couple of years, they equaled 9 total wins in 3 years. So that's kind of wild when you look at that. But I think Detroit they're building something, and especially when Aaron Rodgers is about to leave out the door, and you got Chicago, even though they have Justin Fields and the potential high with him, they still have some things they need to fix. And even the Vikings, they have Kirk Cousins. From watching Kirk Cousins all those years, Kirk Cousins is going to Kirk Cousins, and that
y'all
defense.
Need a little Kirk Cousins right now. Y'all love your little Kirk Cousins right about now, wouldn't you?
There you go. This ain't about not see him.
You know what I'm saying? No. I done took all these Detroit shots, bottom feeders, and when I was growing up, and with Aaron Rodgers going out the door, I done took them shots. I done took them straight, but we bulletproof over here. We bulletproof over here.
Man, I'm the youngest guy up here. I was born 95. That's okay,
all I graduated that year. I became a man that year.
That's all I've seen, bro. So let's talk about Detroit real quick. What do you think about what's Detroit doing so far this offseason?
Man, you know what? I'm just excited to be a fan. I'm excited that my team is making moves. All the moves that we hoped that they would make years ago, man, they're in the mix. People outside of the fan base have to take notice. And again, man, it's all about young Brad, man. Young Brad has come here, and he's like, you know what? Y'all giving me this opportunity. I couldn't come in here and hire my own coach. I had to take what y'all gave me. He a good dude. I'm going to work with it. I'm at this opportunity. I know if I turn this place around, win something here, I'm a god. I'm immortal because ain't nobody ever did it. You know what I mean? So with that, I'm very excited about Brad. Brad came into the offseason with $20-something million. Like I said, he got Cam Sutton, he got Emmanuel Mosley, he got David Montgomery. We're talking about Sutton and Montgomery are two of the top players on the free agent market. Montgomery's coming from a team that got $60 million. I don't know how they let him walk away. Also got Graham Glasgow. So really, he's already addressed a lot of our needs going into the offseason. And now, again, y'all laughed at me last week, and I was like, man, I'm having a hard time figuring out getting our needs. When they talk about needs, it's like, he's addressed everything. We needed cornerbacks. We got 3 of them. We needed, some help at linebacker. We may still need some help there. We needed some help at interior defensive line. We retained 2 of our guys who were free agents, and we're primed and ready in the draft to maybe grab a guy or 2. So it's up in Detroit, man. It's up in Detroit, baby. And the draft will be here 2024, and we're going to use that draft as a springboard for the march to the Super Bowl. I don't know where it's going to be at that next year, but we might be there. Yeah, I said it.
So back to the Vikings and the
No,
and
we
the
ain't talking about the
Packers.
Vikings. We ain't talking about the Vikings. What for? What they done did? Who they done got?
Back to Chicago and,
For what?
and the Panthers. No.
And I'm gonna say this real quick. I'm sorry, I gotta say this. My man again did all this with $20 million, then did 2 or 3 restructures. We now have $23 million available on the cap right now before the draft. So I don't know what the next big move is. You know, we don't have that type of cash at this point. So I don't know if we're looking at maybe a D-Hop trade. I don't know if we're looking at maybe bringing in a Bobby Wagner to kind of help at that linebacker spot. I don't know. We got enough picks. We could throw them to Baltimore if Lamar want to do something. I don't know. So keep your eye on us. It can get interesting. It can get interesting.
Hey, it really, I mean, the thing about it is, like I said, shout out to y'all. Shout out to what you're doing. Because again, I'm not going to call y'all the bottom feeders, but y'all been down bad for a long time, from the 0-16 season to winning 2
y'all,
games,
you know what I'm
4
saying?
games.
Listen, man, y'all don't want to talk about Hard Knocks, 9-8 or nothing. Y'all just keep talking about this bad stuff, man. Why y'all keep talking about this bad stuff?
Hey, because Detroit came a long way. It came a lot. Like, nobody wasn't worried about Detroit. Now everybody's like, oh, y'all better watch out for Detroit. So again, y'all deserve this recognition. Y'all been through some dark times before. Y'all have one of the best wide receivers in the league. So again, it's about that time. I mean, y'all can make it. Y'all give it a little bit down the line, but y'all can make it.
No. Like I said, Atlanta made it. I remember when Atlanta was the worst team in the league. I remember when I used to see Atlanta on our schedule, and I got happy. Like, okay, we got us one. Now it's Washington. Hello. Now it's the Commanders, the 54th. Give them hell, 54.
This is nasty.
Yeah, man. Like, it is. It's nasty work, but hey, we gotta give it to him though. That he can do this now. Like, we were talking about 5 years ago. He couldn't do this, but he can do this now.
We here. You just got to stay healthy and get a backup quarterback. We get a backup quarterback. I don't want to build it up and golf, break something and then break his toenail, and then we got Willie Lump back here, and it's all bad again. But pray for us though. Pray for us.
No, yeah, good. Like I said, I think the pickup for Goff was a good thing when y'all did get him. Not trying to talk about Matthew Stafford, but I feel like that was a good pickup for y'all to do. Y'all sitting over here building around him, kind of giving him something similar to what he had with the Rams and when he first got drafted to them. So I feel like, again, y'all are doing what y'all need to do. Y'all are getting the players that y'all need to get, and it's making it easy to where y'all can really go and be like us, be like the Falcons, and start drafting best player available. Whoever falls right there in 6, y'all like them, grab it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I don't know how much you want to be like the Falcons, but okay. But we'll take it though. I love Atlanta City.
Look. I'm just gonna say this. Without these little moves that they would have been right next door. So it's okay. They trying to move down the street. Come on back. Neighbor.
Let's be clear. Our pick is number 18. This is the Rams pick at 6. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. You got us there. I'll give you that. That was a good shot right there. But anyway.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy C. Henry, the host and producer of the Fellas Present Sports Rap Podcast. I discuss the latest happenings around the NFL, college football, the NBA, and also the latest from the Detroit sports scene. I try to keep it informative and funny, and we always keep it light with some of my hip-hop favorites mixed in as interludes. Follow me at CHEN313 on Twitter. That's at CHEN313. And also subscribe to the show on Anchor, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And again, that's the DA Fellas Presents Sports Wrap Podcast.
Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about the top 5 linebackers that we're going to be looking at. So each of us, I will have one. Lady E, you have 2. We're going to start off with you with your first 2, and C. Henry's going to end it off with his linebackers. So the first linebacker on the board we talk about is going to be Trenton Simpson out of Clemson.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you know right now. I don't watch Clemson. It's boo Clemson until they play Georgia, but I'm just playing. But it really is boo Clemson. But no, Trent Simpson coming out from Clemson, 6'3", 230-ish. You know, they when I was kind of doing some background, they kind of had his weight different points. So we're gonna put 230-ish. Ran a 4.4, 40-yard dash, had a 155 split. Amazing, good, nice get up off the ball. Watched his film. You know, I will say that he is pretty much better suited for a will linebacker with that will spot in the NFL because he's a very good off the ball type guy. You know, he did play a little bit of middle linebacker when he was at Clemson. You know, did play a little bit of Mike as well, but I feel like he will probably be a better asset in a will linebacker. Can play both the 3-4-3. So that will pretty much, I give him a second round. Might sneak into the first, you know how they are about speed. When it comes down to it, he's a very athletic person. Looks like a safety. Never know that he's a linebacker, so Mike can give off those little looks if he does get into it. Just depend on him, especially if he plays in a 3-4. He can line up where it looks like he's playing the Mike, but he's really the will, so that can help with that if the teams know how to play him. Shout out, I hate the Aints, but pretty much kind of if we can picture him probably playing in the Aints when it comes down to it. If y'all watch the Falcons, I have to do this. He'll be in a similar role of what we had Deion Jones in, if y'all remember Debo. So even though just a little bit bigger, more athletic. But yeah, I like him. Like I said, probably 25 to the 31 pick. You know, we ain't got 32 this year. But yeah, the 25th, if he could sneak in there, just depending on the teams if they want to take a chance. Other than that, straight second round, probably high second round. I see Detroit picking him up.
Yeah, so another guy, you know, we talked on the production meetings and things was this guy Drew Sanders. Now I remember him from Alabama that you brought up, and this guy, he's like 6'5". I mean, this flying all over the field. You can go ahead and talk about him because he kind of intrigued me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't test at the combine. He did the workouts, but he didn't test at the combine. His pro day is March 29th, so y'all make sure y'all tune into that to see how he tests as far as the 40-yard dash. He did play Mike at Arkansas, but here goes the but about it. I feel like he is more of a person that's better suited to play edge or a designated pass rush because it seems like when he was in that Mike position, and we all know that Mike position is a very tough position to play. He wasn't consistent when it came down to the run plays. You know, took a lot of bad takes, misdirections. I did see that a lot. You know, but his sideline ability is there. He's very quick. So I feel like he probably can be in a high upper, probably 4.5, 4.6, probably when it comes down to speed. But I do feel that he will fit more in a 3-4 rather than that 4-3 because he can come in on special plays just to get that pass rush. I just don't see him in a Mike position, or like I said, kind of with Trent Simpson, more probably in that wheel. But I do see him coming in on specific plays, like, you know, second or third down, rushing the passer. Like I said, he's still an athletic person, but he is in my opinion, a mid-round two, day 2 guy. We can probably see if somebody's looking for that extra depth, but I'm not going to say that he's going to be up there. He does have some inconsistent film, unfortunately, when he was playing at Arkansas. I didn't go back to Alabama. I wanted to see what I wanted to see last year. And again, very athletic, very, very pretty much, like I said, the speed is not there, but he can get you what he needs to get. He can play cleanup if he wants to as well. But yeah, I mean, I just want to see more. I just feel like probably if he gets with the right team that can develop him, he probably can play that Mike position again. But again, like I said, that speed is not there. So we'll see.
Yeah, I like him a lot, man. I think that he's very, very instinctual player. And like you said, I think as long as he's playing forward, moving forward, playing downhill, that's when he's at his best. when he has to play in space, dropping coverage, play man to man. You like you said, I can see him having a first and second down role, and maybe as a middle linebacker, again playing downhill, but on those obvious passing situations, he may come off the field. You know what I'm saying? Or like you say, put his hand down in the dirt and come around that corner, come around that edge.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's there. When it comes down to it, it just the consistency wasn't there, and you can definitely tell, like to see Henry's point, he's not good in the run. Get him in those obvious passing plays, boom, you got your guy. But that run, if you need him for that, is not going to be there just yet. Like I said, it just takes some development and some time that could be developed, but there was a lot of misdirection, a lot of missteps, a lot of things that he just wasn't doing on a consistent basis.
So this guy, he's Big Ten homer, right? That's me and C. Henry. So looks like I got Jack Campbell. So Jack Campbell, when you think of Jack Campbell, you think of those old school linebackers back in the day, like a Mike Dick, Ray Lewis, Matt Millen, those type of guys. And when you see a Jack Campbell, that's what he screens. He screens those old school middle linebackers and those defenses. This guy has been consistent. Great things. He's led that defense. Iowa has been a top 10 defense for the past couple of years now. They have been a staple in having defenders, offensive linemen, tight ends coming out of that team. This is the guy that you get, and he's going to come in with a lunch pail, and he's going to come in and do his work and do his job. Now, I'm thinking because of how people are going to see this linebacker class, they don't really. It might be at least one probably guy that could probably sneak in the first round. I don't think he's going to sneak in the first round. I think he's more of a day two, like a top of the half second round pick guy, unless somebody try to get him. I think he'll be a great fit for me personally for Washington, especially we don't have that Mike right now, even though we had a top 10 defense. But I think our defense can take another level, have a guy that understands the assignments, understands where people needs to be, and especially we run that 5-man front of all our defensive linemen. I think this guy, he's going to have a long career. He's going to be one of those guys who be like, remember Jack Campbell? Yeah, that's that old school guy. He an old head. He an old head. He comes in, does his job, gets 130 tackles a year, and he's a leader. I think, this is a guy that you want to marry your daughter, and I think he's going to be a great NFL player once he gets his opportunity.
Yeah, that marry your daughter thing, that threw me off. You know what I'm saying? I all type of red that flashed before my eyes. But anyhow, Jack is a heck of a player, man. And I think a little bit different between him and Sanders is that he's a little bit more athletic with his size. Talking about a guy who's 6'5", 250, but he can move. You know what I'm saying? He can really can move. He's underrated, I think, in terms of pass coverage, and because of his length and his range, he becomes a real problem in zone coverage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you have those linebackers are trying to run up the seam, he can kind of run with them, and he kind of can, cloud that passing lane. So Jack is a heck of a player. And I think he could be the first linebacker taken in this draft.
I'll give him that. Iowa always produces those type of linebackers, so we'll see. Hey, y'all, what's up? It's your girl, Lady E. Make sure y'all catch us on Falcons Tuesday. That's every Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. And for my people that live in the Central Time, 5:30. Okay, this is where we go down and we talk about the Falcons game. We talk about Falcons information, breaking news, everything. And if you even just want to vent about them Atlanta Falcons, come on, because baby, Dirty Bird Nation be ready for you and be ready to hear it. So like I said, catch us out on the Spaces on Twitter. You can find me at Lady E_. Tell them. Love y'all. Mwah.
So, see, Henry, your guys are going to be Henry To'oTo'o from Alabama and Noah Sewell. These guys are, to me, they're kind of similar in some sense, it's kind of the same build. One guy went from Tennessee, Henry, went to Tennessee, then he transferred to Alabama, had 2 productive years in that defense. And I think, for me, he's going to be a good starter too. What are your insights on him?
I like him a lot. I think he's has a lot of good skills, especially for this new NFL. I think he's going to be more of a guy who can really cover in this league. I think he's going to be able to, possibly cover tight ends, maybe step out in the slot. and do some things against in zone coverage. I don't know. You don't want to lock him up man to man against slot receivers, but he's a guy who definitely has the move skills, can make plays from sideline to sideline. Like you said, the build is a little bit slight. He's not considered a thumper. I don't think he's going to be a guy who you're going to be able to throw in the middle linebacker position in the 3-4 defense, or even in the Mike at the 4-3. I think you want him off ball. You want him as at the wheel or maybe even strong side, maybe. But you don't want folks to get their hands on him, because that's where he has a problem with. When those big boys, those guards get up into him and they get their hands on him, he has a hard time getting off those blocks. So I think that's going to be a challenge. But he is a player. Accumulated more than 200. The 200 total tackles in his career. Had over 150, I believe, in his first year or two at Tennessee before he came over to Alabama. The production was there, but he was playing with a lot more talent around him on that defense. So I think he has a lot more to show at the NFL level.
And your final guy, it's wild that Sewell, his brother, is on Detroit Lions. So you should have way more on Noah. I remember Noah coming out. I believe it was a 5-star, right? 5-star coming out of college.
You talking about Panay?
No, Noah. Noah, his brother was like a 5-star.
Oh, I'm not sure. I know what I don't see 5-star right now. I'll tell you that. Good player, solid player. There's been a lot of folks like, yeah, we at Panay, we need to go get his brother. And I'm still a little bit hesitant on him. Again, he's not the most physical guy out there. He will take some bad angles. He will miss some tackles. He's very, very flashy to me. Has a good game here. He's flying all over the field. Seems to be able to see it and read it and react very, very well in this game. And then in another game, it's like he's not even on the field. It's like, he's not even zoned in and connected the same way he was before. So a little bit of inconsistency on his part. I do think he's probably going to be a 3rd-round pick, and I think he definitely has some promise. He definitely has the pedigree, but he's still a little raw and needs a little bit of work.
Yeah, I mean, that film was very much there when he played Georgia. Oregon fans were telling us to watch out for him, but he was ghost. So yeah, just saying. But no, he is an all-around good player. I did catch a couple of them. Like to Henry's point, he has that inconsistency to where he's there 1 minute and then he's not. So again, get him with a good team that can build up that development to go ahead and own those skills, and hey, we'll be good to go. So I mean, hey, if y'all got his brother, y'all go ahead and pick him up and have his brother teach him how to actually really work. Then y'all be good.
All right, this is part of the show everybody been waiting on. So I guess it's time for me to cook on the closing thoughts. So this week, former MVP Cam Newton made a video and called out the world and the NFL world, letting them know he was going to be at the Pro Day at Auburn, throwing to show that he still has in the league. And his biggest comment was obviously that he still believes that he's better than any of the 32 starting quarterbacks as of right now, pending the trade of Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson. And I know he's not better than them. But I think it is strange when you look at this situation, the fall from grace for Cam, a guy that has been in Carolina for majority of all his life, and all it took was 2.5, 3 hits, and it kind of shook his career off the rails. I was going to college in North Carolina. I was watching all the Carolina games. All I saw was Cam. I saw the type of player he was. I saw the elite quarterback that I was desperately trying to get in Washington. But as of right now, I would just probably say Cam is probably better than at least 3 to 6. One of them is Zach Wilson. Let's be real. But Cam, if you feel like this, go ahead and get the shot. But don't be scared if you don't get that shot no more. This was the Enter the Lab podcast with Lady E and C. Henry, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Enter the Lab with your boy DT, Atlanta's #1 lady, Lady E, and yours truly, C. Henry.